Every human being enters this world carrying something far greater than what the eyes can see. Deep within the soul of every person rests a silent assignment, a divine deposit placed there long before their birth. It is not loud, not forceful, not demanding, but it is persistent. It calls gently at first, like a soft whisper, but as the years pass and the heart begins to confront its own longing, that whisper becomes an undeniable pull. This pull is the signal of potential, a reminder that you were created with intention, crafted with precision, and designed to fulfill something that only you can bring to the world. Most people live their entire lives unaware of the treasure hidden inside them. They look around instead of within. They compare themselves to others and assume that significance is something given only to a select few. But greatness is never an exclusive gift, it is a universal seed. The difference between those who rise and those who merely exist is not the presence of potential, but the discovery of it. Potential is everything you can be but have not yet become. It is every gift you have not yet used, every idea you have not yet pursued, every dream you have not yet dared to believe. And the truth is, potential does not announce itself. It waits for you to recognize it. The tragedy of life is not death. As Dr. Miles Monroe often said, the tragedy is a life lived without ever discovering why you were born. You were not designed to simply survive, to follow routines, or to echo the expectations of others. You were designed to manifest something specific, something meaningful, something that would not exist without you. There is something inside you that the world needs, and no one else has been given the responsibility to release it. Your potentials is your personal assignment. But unlocking that potential, the Lord says, should look requires awakening most people and conforming without questioning, without Greatness begins where imitation ends. You must step back from the noise of expectations and listen to the whisper of destiny inside you. There is a point in life when you must confront the truth that you were not born to repeat the stories of others. You were born to write your own. The world may try to shape you, label you, and confine you, but your potential refuses to fit into boundaries created by fear or limitation. Your potential is too large for comfort zones. Comfort zones are the deathbed of potential, the quiet killer of dreams. The moment you become comfortable, you risk becoming stuck. And the saddest feeling in life is not being tired from trying, but being empty from never trying at all. You must understand that potential thrives on pressure. Diamonds are created under intense force. Seeds break open under the heaviness of soil, and stars burn brightest in darkness. Pressure is not sent to destroy you, it is sent to reveal you. The challenges you face are not signs that you are weak, but indicators that something powerful is trying to emerge. The universe does not waste battles on people who carry nothing within them. The fact there's anything worth resisting is proof that there is something to you. Retinal says exchange to this and they sound really keep but feel comfortability, but they rob live for them wars and they sorry you deservedly. Who they rob you of the future you they sell reserve you realisable. We still feel well reserves the realisable. Responsibility is the key that unlocks potential. The moment you take ownership of your life, your choices, your habits, and your growth, you begin to access the power that has always been inside you, yet many people never take this responsibility because they fear the unknown. The unknown feels risky, uncomfortable, unpredictable. But the unknown is also where growth lives. Everything you want, everything you dream of, everything you sense deep inside yourself exists just outside the borders of your comfort, and you will never reach it by clinging to security. You must trust that when you move toward your destiny, the path will reveal itself. Purpose always makes way for who dare to follow it. One of the great truths you must embrace is that potential requires isolation. There's in crowds. When you begin to seek your true identity, you may find that certain people, habits, or environments no longer fit. This is not abandonment, it is alignment. You cannot bring everyone with you into your destiny. Some people are part of your story, but not part of your assignment. They were present for a season, not for a lifetime. When you cling to what should be left behind, you slow your progress toward what lies ahead. But isolation is not loneliness. Isolation is preparation. It is the quiet place where clarity emerges, where vision sharpens, where the soul reconnects with its source. In separation, you learn to hear your own voice again, the voice that has been drowned out by noise, opinions, and expectations. In that silence, truth rises to the surface, and when truth rises, purpose follows. To unlock your potential, you must also confront your past, not to relive it or remain in it, but to understand that it cannot define you. Life may have given you wounds, losses, betrayals, or failures, but those were experiences, not identities. What happened to you is real, but it was not final. Your past is a chapter, not the whole book, and chapters are meant to be turned. Growth demands that you release what tries to hold you hostage. Forgive where you must let go, where you must and rise beyond a limit. You must also embrace discipline potential. Discipline becomes wasted energy. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you can be. It is daily Malkato Kaling and you must it is not provided is connected vision. One you would go with your certain whether you align yourself, but saying where you move in and you raise there, or the design of where you must also regular you must also rest of words that color you. Clarity becomes natural, confusion dissolves, fear weakens. You begin to see yourself not as the world defines you, but as heaven acknowledges you, and that perspective changes everything, because when you know who created you, you begin to understand why you were created. This is the beginning of the journey toward unlocking your divine potential, the awakening, the recognition, and the willingness to step into what has always been inside you. As a person begins to awaken to their potential, something inside them starts to shift quietly, but powerfully. They begin noticing that the desires in their heart are not random, the dreams they carry are not fantasies. They are signals, indicators that something greater is calling them forward. Desire is often the first language of destiny. It is the internal compass pointing you toward what you were uniquely designed to do. But desire alone is not enough. It must be matched with intention. Intention takes the energy of desire and turns it into direction. Without intention, desire becomes wishful thinking, but with intention, desire becomes momentum. There is a moment in your life when you must stop asking for permission to become who you were created to be. Many people wait for validation from others before they pursue their calling. They wait for someone to agree, support, applaud, or confirm their vision. But potential does not need permission, it needs courage. If you wait for everyone to understand you, you will wait forever. People cannot fully understand what they did not hear God speak to you. They were not present when the seed of greatness was planted inside you, so do not expect them to understand your urgency. The dream belongs to you, the responsibility belongs to you, the journey belongs to you, and so must the decision. One of the greatest obstacles to unlocking potential is doubt. Doubt is the silent thief of destiny. It does not arrive loudly. It creeps in softly, questioning your confidence, whispering insecurities, and magnifying weaknesses. Doubt convinces people to settle for less than they were designed for. But doubt only has power. When you entertain it, it grows. When you feed it, what you repeatedly think becomes what you eventually believe. And what you believe becomes what you live. So you must starve doubt by feeding faith. Faith is not emotion, it is conviction. It is the decision to trust the potential placed inside you even when the path is not visible. Another challenge is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. Fear is a natural emotion, but a terrible master. If fear controls your decisions, your potential will never see the light of day. The truth is you cannot eliminate fear completely, but you can overcome it by confronting it. Every step you take toward your destiny reduces fear's power. Fear thrives in stillness, it weakens in motion. You must move even when you feel afraid. You must act even when you feel uncertain. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite fear. When you operate from courage, you unlock dimensions of yourself that you never knew existed. To unlock your potential, you must also learn the discipline of focus. We live in a world full of noise, distractions that weaken conviction, voices that confuse, and environments that pull your attention away from what truly matters. Potential grows where attention goes. You cannot cultivate greatness with divided focus. Your destiny requires your full presence. When you focus your mind, your time, your habits, and your energy toward the vision inside you, accelerate your progress. A distracted mind produces a diluted life, but a focused mind produces a powerful one. There will be times when the process feels slow. Progress may seem invisible. You may feel like nothing is happening, even though you are trying, but purpose grows. Silently, seeds do their best work underground in darkness. Unseen by the world, the fact that you do not see instant results does not mean nothing is happening. Growth is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Trust the process. Your potential is developing in ways you may not recognize yet. Patience is not waiting passively, it is waiting with preparation. Prepare even when you do not see the outcome. Build even when no one is watching. Your time is coming. A major part of unlocking your divine potential is understanding the power of personal vision. Vision is the ability to see your future before it arrives. It is the internal picture of the life you were created to live. Without vision, people wander. They make decisions based on their feelings rather than their destiny. But when you have a clear vision, your decisions become aligned, your actions become intentional, and your habits become structured. Vision gives you direction, it gives you discipline, it gives you purpose. Vision is not what you see with your eyes, it is what you see with your spirit. And until you see your life in your spirit, you cannot manifest it in your reality. But vision requires clarity, and clarity requires separation. You cannot develop a strong vision while surrounded by confusion. You must create space to reflect, to think, to listen. The world rewards business, but purpose rewards clarity. Take time to understand what you truly want and why it matters. When clarity emerges, confusion loses its power, and as clarity increases, confidence begins to rise. You must also confront the lie that you are not enough. Many people believe they lack what is necessary to accomplish their calling. They think they need more resources, more opportunities, more support. But the truth is, everything you need to begin is already inside you. You may need to develop it, refine it, sharpen it, or expand it. But the raw material is their potential is like a seed it carries. Everything necessary for growth as seed does not need external approval to become a tree. It simply needs the right environment to activate what is already within it. And you are no different. You carry the raw material of greatness, waiting for the moment you decide to activate it. Another important truth is that unlocking your potential requires intentional relationships. You cannot rise alone. You need people who challenge you, correct you, and hold you accountable. The wrong people can delay your destiny, but the right people can accelerate it. Your environment influences your mindset, and your mindset shapes your future. Surround yourself with people who speak life, not limitations. Choose people who see possibilities, not problems. Choose people who believe in growth, not excuses. The people you associate with are mirrors of your future. At the same time, you must distance yourself from relationships that suffocate your potential. There are people who cannot see your future because they are trapped in their own past. There are people who do not understand your growth because they have chosen to remain stagnant. You cannot keep people close who drain your energy, weaken your confidence, or belittle your vision. Love them, but release them. Your purpose is too valuable to be surrounded by voices that limit it. Unlocking your potential also means embracing responsibility for your choices. You cannot blame others for the life you are living. You cannot blame circumstances, family, society, or the past. Blaming keeps you powerless. Responsibility empowers you to change. Your life will only shift when you take ownership of it. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you control how you respond, and your response determines your elevation. To tap into your full potential, you must commit to constant growth. Potential is not unlocked. Once it is unlocked continually, every new level of growth reveals a new level of ability. You must be a student of life, willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Greatness requires humility, the acknowledgement that no matter how far there, always more master. Your mind must remain open, your spirit teachable, and your attitude flexible. Growth is the flensel, linking your potential requires alignment in with your purpose. And that purpose is rooted in something eternal. You did not design yourself, so you cannot fully discover yourself without your creator. The more you align with the one who formed you, the more clearly you understand who you are. Your potential is tied to your identity, and your identity is tied to your origin. When you walk in spiritual alignment, strength becomes natural, direction becomes clear, and courage becomes consistent. This is the unfolding of your potential, the intentional steps, the internal shifts, the discipline, the courage, and the alignment that transform an ordinary life into a purposeful one. The journey is not easy, but the reward is extraordinary. Because once you begin unlocking your divine potential, you will never again be satisfied with living below it. When a person steps deeper into their journey of discovering their divine potential, life begins to test the sincerity of their commitment. Every dream encounters opposition, not because the dream is impossible, but because the dream is important. The weight you feel in the process is a sign that what you carry is valuable. Purpose does not grow in ease. Purpose grows in resistance. And resistance is not a barrier, it is a builder. It shapes you, molds you, strengthens you, and prepares you for the very things you once believed you were unqualified to handle. This is why the journey toward potential cannot be walked by the faint of heart. It requires resilience. Resilience is not simply the ability to survive challenges. It is the ability to grow from them. Every setback you experience is a lesson disguised as a delay. Every obstacle carries insight, and every disappointment contains direction. Life does not punish you with difficulties, it instructs you through them. The problem is not the presence of challenges, but the perspective through which you interpret them. When you see challenges as confirmation instead of contradiction, everything changes. You begin to understand that the dream is not dying, it is developing. There will be seasons when you feel like the world does not understand your journey. You may feel alone, misunderstood, or unseen, but these seasons are essential. Every person destined for greatness encounters isolation. At some point, isolation is the proving ground of purpose. It is where clarity deepens, conviction strengthens, and character stabilizes. When no one is watching, you learn who you truly are and what you truly believe. When applause is absent, authenticity emerges. And when support is limited, self-belief becomes essential. During these moments, you must remember that purpose is personal. It was given to you, not to the people around you. Others may support you, but they cannot complete your assignment. They may encourage you, but they cannot carry your responsibility. You must learn to walk even when no one walks with you. to believe even when no one agrees with you, and to continue even when everything around you tells you to quit. This is where inner strength is born, the strength that does not depend on circumstances, but on identity. Identity is the anchor of potential. If you do not know who you are, you will never understand what you can do. Life may try to label you according to your failures, your past, your mistakes, or your limitations. But these labels are false. They are temporary shadows trying to cover permanent truth. You were created with purpose, and purpose cannot be erased by failure. Failure is simply a chapter in your story, not the ending. People often avoid risk because they fear failure, but failure is not the enemy. Fear is failure teaches you, shapes you, humbles you, and grows you. Fear paralyzes you. Fear makes you shrink back from opportunities created for your growth. Fear makes you live a life smaller than the one you were designed for. Potential requires movement, and fear resists movement. This is why courage is non-negotiable. Courage is not loud. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes courage is quiet, choosing to try again, choosing to believe again, choosing to hope again. To unlock your potential fully, you must learn to trust the timing of your life. Not everything happens when you want it. Sometimes opportunities seem delayed, doors seem closed, or progress seems slow, but delays are not denials. Timing is part of preparation. If you receive something before you are ready, the blessing becomes a burden. You must grow into your calling. You must prepare for what you pray for. You must develop the strength, discipline, and maturity that your destiny requires. Many people want the promise without the process, but the process is what builds the capacity for the promise. A tree cannot bear fruit the moment it is planted. It must first grow roots, deep roots, that allow it to survive storms, winds, and droughts. In the same way, potential needs depth before it produces destiny. What looks like a delay is often the root building season of your life. Do not despise it. Embrace it. You are developing foundations that will support everything you were born to carry. Another important truth is that potential demands sacrifice. You cannot live a life of comfort while expecting results that require discipline. Every great accomplishment requires something from you: time, effort, consistency, focus. You cannot rise without releasing what keeps you low. Sacrifice is not loss, it is investment. Every hour spent learning, improving, or building is a seed planted into your future. Every distraction you remove is a step toward clarity. Every habit you break is a barrier between you and your destiny. Shattering. You will also encounter critics along your journey. People who question your vision, misunderstand your progress, or doubt your ability. Do not let their noise become your narrative. Critics speak from their limitations, not your potential. Their disbelief does not define your destiny. What they think is irrelevant to what you were created to become. If you allow the opinions of others to shape your decisions, you will live a life that never reflects your true capacity. Purpose requires selective hearing. You must listen to truth, not noise. Another challenge in unlocking potential is the temptation to compare yourself to others. Comparison is a thief. It steals joy, peace, confidence, and authenticity. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's timing is unique. Everyone's purpose is distinct. You cannot measure your growth with someone else's timeline. Your potential is customized. Your process is designed specifically for you. The moment you stop comparing, you free yourself to grow at the speed of authenticity. To truly access your greatness, you must embrace consistency. Consistency is the currency of success. It is not what you do occasionally that transforms you. It is what you do daily. Small actions, repeated consistently, produce monumental results. Discipline is stronger than motivation because motivation comes and goes, but discipline creates momentum, and momentum turns ordinary progress into extraordinary breakthroughs. Consistency is how you unlock layers of potential you never knew existed. Another essential aspect is learning to listen to the voice of inner conviction. Every person has an internal guided sense of knowing, a spiritual instinct, a deep inner voice that aligns with truth. When you ignore this voice, you drift. When you follow it, you grow. This inner voice is often quiet, but it never misleads. It warns you when something is not right, confirms when something is aligned, and pushes you toward what is meant for you. When you strengthen your relationship with this inner guidance, you begin walking with clarity and confidence. Unlocking potential also requires humility, the humility to learn, to change, to acknowledge weaknesses, and to seek help when necessary. Humility is not weakness, it is wisdom. It keeps your heart open, your mind flexible, and your spirit teachable. Pride blinds you, humility elevates you. Pride limits growth, humility expands it. The most powerful people are not those who think they know everything, but those who are willing to keep learning. As you continue on your journey, you must understand that your life is not an accident, but an assignment. You were created for impact. You were created to contribute something meaningful to the world. Unlocking your potential is not just for you. It is for those who will benefit from what you carry. Your gifts are answers to someone's problem. Your purpose is a solution waiting to be revealed. When you rise, others rise with you. When you step into your destiny, you open doors for countless others. And perhaps the greatest truth of all is that your potential is limitless. You were created with divine genius capable of more than you imagine. The only real limitations are the ones you accept. When you challenge your limits, you discover that most of them were illusions. You are stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and more capable than you realize. Potential expands as you grow. It stretches as you stretch. It rises as you rise. This part of your journey is about embracing growth, facing challenges with courage, strengthening your identity, and continuing to move forward even when the path feels uncertain. Because every step you take brings you closer to the person you were always meant to become. As the journey continues and a person steps deeper into their calling, they begin to realize that unlocking potential is not a one-time event but an unfolding process. It is like peeling layers from the core of who you are. Each layer reveals something new, something stronger, something more refined. But with every layer revealed, there is also a layer that must be removed: old mindsets, old fears, old habits, and old versions of yourself that cannot enter your next level. Transformation requires release. You cannot become who you were created to be while holding on to who you used to be. There will be moments when the transformation feels uncomfortable. Growth stretches you. It pulls you out of familiar spaces and challenges everything you believed about life and yourself. You may find yourself questioning whether you are capable, whether you are ready, whether you are enough. But every person on the path of purpose feels this tension. It is the tension between potential and doubt, between calling and comfort, between who you are and who you are becoming. This tension is necessary because it strengthens your character and redefines your perspective. One of the greatest challenges in this stage is managing your thoughts. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. The thoughts you entertain either strengthen your potential or sabotage it. Negative thoughts create limitations, while constructive thoughts create pathways. You must train your mind intentionally. You must challenge thoughts of fear, insecurity, and worthlessness. You must replace them with truth about your identity, your vision, your abilities, and your purpose. What you think consistently becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes what you manifest. This is why discipline of the mind is essential. You cannot think small and live big. You cannot think failure and walk in destiny. You cannot think weakness and act with authority. Your mind must align with your purpose. Purpose cannot grow in a mind filled with confusion and conflict. It grows in clarity, focus, and peace. When you control your thoughts, you control your future. When you elevate your thinking, you elevate your life. In this season of development, you will also encounter internal resistance. This resistance is not from the world around you, but from the familiar patterns inside you. The human mind is programmed to seek comfort, predictability, and safety. But purpose often leads you into unfamiliar territory. Your potential exists beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone. This internal resistance may come in the form of procrastination, self-doubt, emotional fatigue, or sudden waves of discouragement. But understand this resistance increases as you get closer to breakthrough. When the inner battle intensifies, it is a sign that you are close to your next level. At this stage, you must also confront your relationship with time. Most people underestimate what they can accomplish in a year, but overestimate what they can accomplish in a day. They become frustrated when instant results do not appear. But purpose is not microwaved, it is cultivated. Time is not your enemy, it is your partner. Time is what refines you, teaches you, strengthens you, and matures you. If you try to rush the process, you arrive unprepared. But when you honor the process, you arrive empowered during the unfolding of potential. You will face battles that are not external but internal battles of identity. You must answer questions like, who am I? What was I created to do? What am I becoming? These questions shape your direction. Identity is the foundation of destiny. If you do not know who you are, you will live according to who others say you are. If you do not know your value, you will accept what life gives you rather than what you deserve. Identity anchors you. It stabilizes you when the journey becomes uncertain. It reminds you that you were created with intention and that nothing about your life is accidental. An essential part of unlocking your potential is learning to listen to the voice within, your spirit, your intuition, your inner knowing. This inner voice is often quiet, yet it carries profound truth. It guides you when logic is unclear. It warns you when something is not aligned. It directs you toward opportunities that your eyes cannot yet see. This is why stillness is powerful. In silence, you can hear what noise usually hides. In reflection, you receive direction. In quietness, clarity rises. You must also learn to shift your environment when necessary. Potential cannot grow in soil that suffocates it. Sometimes the people around you change. Sometimes you outgrow them. Sometimes the habits that once comforted you become the very things that hinder you. Growth requires honesty with yourself about what strengthens you and what weakens you. When you understand this, you begin to cultivate an environment that supports your destiny rather than sabotages it. One of the most powerful realizations on this journey is that potential demands purpose-driven habits. Your daily routine reveals your future. Every successful person is built not by big moments, but by small, intentional habits practiced consistently over time. Discipline becomes your friend. Focus becomes your weapon. Consistency becomes your strength. Greatness grows in ordinary days, in silent hours, in unseen efforts. What the world eventually celebrates is the product of what you consistently do in private. You must also learn to manage your emotions. Emotions are natural, but they can become dangerous when uncontrolled. If you make decisions based on feelings rather than vision, you will sabotage your future. Feelings fluctuate, purpose does not. Emotions may signal, but they must not lead. Maturity means learning to act according to values, not impulses. When you can manage your emotions, you gain authority over your life. Another truth you must embrace is that your potential is connected to service. Greatness is never about self-glorification, it is about contribution. You are given gifts, abilities, ideas, and insights not just for your own benefit, but to impact others. The more you serve, the more your potential expands. Serving others reveals strengths you never realized you had. It stretches your compassion, your empathy, your creativity, and your influence. When you serve, you discover more of who you are as the journey continues. You will realize that the people who inspire the world are not those who chase success, they are those who chase purpose. Success is a byproduct of purpose. When you align with your assignment, opportunities find you. When you walk in authenticity, relationships align with you. When you pursue your calling, resources gravitate toward you. Purpose attracts provision. This is why your focus should not be on becoming successful, but on becoming purposeful in this season of growth. You will also need to develop the courage to start over when necessary. Some paths you chose earlier may no longer fit who you are becoming. Some projects, ideas, or partnerships may need to be released so you can move into what aligns with your destiny. Starting over is not failure, it is refinement. Do not fear new beginnings, they are often disguised blessings. And finally, as potential continues to unfold, you begin to realize that everything you have been through was part of your preparation. Every struggle strengthened you. Every challenge equipped you. Every loss taught you. Every setback shaped you. Nothing was wasted. What felt painful at the moment now becomes powerful in your purpose. The pieces of your past become tools for your future. The journey begins to make sense. You start to see that you are being built, not broken. This phase of unlocking your potential is about embracing the discomfort of growth, restructuring your mindset, elevating your habits, clarifying your identity, and aligning with the deeper version of who you were created to become. You are in the stage of becoming stronger, wiser, clearer, and more aligned with the purpose that has been pulling you forward all along. As the journey toward discovering purpose reached a deeper stage, the realization dawned that the greatest battles a person fights are not against the world outside, but against the doubts, fears, and voices that rise from within. Every human being is born with a vision, but not everyone learns how to protect that vision from the storms that rise against it. This is why so many people start with excitement but end with confusion. They begin with passion but finish in discouragement. Purpose requires guardianship. Vision requires discipline. Destiny requires patience. You cannot carry something great without learning how to protect it from what comes to destroy it. The greatest enemy of purpose is the subtle whisper that tells you that you are not enough. That whisper is never from God. It comes from the experiences, disappointments, and failures that try to reshape your identity into something smaller than what you were created to be. A person who tries to live without understanding their true identity becomes like a seed that has forgotten it is meant to become a forest. It settles for soil when it was meant to break through the soil. It settles for darkness when it was meant to rise toward the light. The moment you truly believe that you were created with intentionality is the moment you begin to rise beyond every limitation ever placed on you. People often try to interpret their purpose through the lens of their past, but the past has no authority over what God designed from eternity. The past is simply a place where you learned, not a place where you were meant to remain. No mistake, no failure, no betrayal, and no delay has the power to cancel the assignment written inside you. Purpose is not fragile, it is not easily erased, it is not dependent on perfect conditions. Purpose is eternal, and it remains untouched even when the journey becomes messy. But for a person to walk in purpose, they must make a decision to stop allowing their history to dictate their destiny. There is a deep principle about purpose. Whatever God creates, He finishes before He begins. This means that your purpose was completed in God's mind before you ever entered the world. You are not trying to become something, you are trying to uncover what was already placed inside you. This is why the journey of purpose is not about competition. No one can take what is yours because what is yours was never assigned to anyone else. Every gift, every talent, every inclination inside you was designed to fit perfectly with the reason you were born. But many people waste their energy trying to imitate others rather than cultivate what has been uniquely given to them. When a person discovers their true reason for existing, They become dangerous to fear, unstoppable to doubt, and immune to the discouragement of others. Such a person walks with a quiet confidence, not because circumstances are perfect, but because they understand that circumstances do not define who they are. It is identity that determines direction. When you know who you are, you also know where you are going. And when you know where you are going, no distraction can pull you off course, but purpose requires process. Process is uncomfortable. Process can feel slow. Process can feel like nothing is changing. Yet process is what shapes character, strengthens vision, and prepares a person to carry the weight of their destiny. Many people want the destination without the process, but purpose cannot be given to someone who is unwilling to grow into it. You cannot bypass the development stage. Even seeds must go through darkness before they emerge into the light. Even gold must pass through fire before it displays its true worth. You cannot wish your way into greatness. You must grow your way into it. Sometimes the process takes you through seasons you never wanted to experience. Seasons where doors close. Seasons where people leave. Seasons where nothing seems to move forward. These seasons are never meant to destroy you. They are meant to detach you from what cannot go with you into your future. Every elevation requires separation. Every new level requires letting go of something that once felt comfortable. You cannot take everyone and everything with you. Not every voice belongs in your next chapter. Not every relationship was built to last. Not every opportunity was aligned with your calling. You rise not only by what you gain, but also by what you release. Purpose becomes clearer in solitude, in reflection, in moments where you are forced to confront who you truly are. In these moments, you realize that the world's definition of success is often not aligned with true fulfillment. Success, according to the world, is measured by what you accumulate. Purpose, according to God, is measured by what you become. Success is external. Purpose is internal. Success is what is seen. Purpose is what is carried within. A person may achieve success without purpose, but they will never find fulfillment without it. Fulfillment is the fruit of alignment between who you are and why you were created. When you begin to align with your true purpose, you stop living by pressure and start living by assignment. You no longer chase validation because you understand that you are already valuable. You no longer fear rejection because you understand that every person who walks away is simply making space for the ones who are meant to walk with you. You no longer feel lost because you understand that you are guided, even in the quiet moments when nothing seems clear. Purpose becomes your compass. Vision becomes your map. And faith becomes your fuel. But purpose also demands responsibility. It demands that you stop blaming circumstances, people, or environments for the life you are living. It demands that you stop waiting for someone else to open a door when you were created to build your own doors. It demands that you stop waiting for perfect conditions because purpose grows best in imperfect conditions. Purpose requires that you take ownership of your decisions, your growth, your mindset, and your future. You cannot rise while holding on to excuses. Excuses weaken vision. Responsibility strengthens it. There is a principle that Dr. Miles Monroe often taught: where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. This means that when you do not know the purpose of something, you misuse it. The same is true for your life. Without clarity of purpose, you misuse your time, your energy, your potential, your relationships, and your gifts. You settle for things beneath your value. You accept situations beneath your calling. You allow people to treat you in ways that do not reflect your worth. But when purpose becomes clear, you begin to guard your time, you begin to honor your abilities, and you begin to walk with a sense of dignity rooted not in arrogance but in understanding. Purpose gives you a standard. It gives you boundaries. It gives you direction. A person without purpose lives reactively, always responding to the demands of life. But a person with purpose lives proactively, shaping their life around their assignment. They are not moved by every trend, every opinion, or every distraction. They live intentionally because they understand that every day is a piece of the puzzle, and every decision is a seed planted into their destiny. But to walk in purpose, you must develop courage, the courage to risk, the courage to start, the courage to rise after failure, and the courage to believe even when everything around you seems silent. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to move forward despite fear. Every person who ever fulfilled their purpose had moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments of uncertainty. What separated them was not perfection, but persistence. They kept moving. They kept believing. They kept stretching beyond their comfort zone. Purpose does not grow in comfort. Comfort is the enemy of calling. Comfort convinces you that where you are is good enough, even when a greater version of you is waiting to be expressed. You cannot discover new oceans while remaining in the safety of the shore. You cannot grow wings while insisting on staying inside the nest. You cannot become who you are meant to be while clinging to who you used to be. Purpose invites transformation. Transformation is not an event. It is a continuous process of shedding what is no longer aligned with your future. Sometimes it is painful. Sometimes it feels like loss. But every transformation moves you closer to your original design. Every change reveals another layer of who you truly are. And every breakthrough comes after a breaking of limitations, a breaking of beliefs, and a breaking of the fear that once held you captive. As you walk deeper into your purpose, you begin to understand that your life is not just about you. Purpose is never self-centered. It is always connected to serving others, lifting others, inspiring others, and influencing the world around you. Your gift is not meant to be hidden, it is meant to bless someone. Your voice is not meant to be silenced, it is meant to bring clarity to someone else's confusion. Your journey is not meant to be wasted, it is meant to become a roadmap for someone who will walk where you once walked. Purpose multiplies when it is shared. When you understand this, you stop living small. You stop shrinking your dreams to fit the expectations of others. You stop apologizing for the greatness within you. Greatness is not pride, it is responsibility. You were designed with greatness because you were designed to impact the world. And impact requires boldness, and as this realization settles into your heart, you come to see that everything you have endured, everything you have learned, and everything you have overcome was preparing you for what is ahead. Nothing was wasted. Not a single tear, not a single delay, not a single disappointment. All of it was shaping you, strengthening you, and positioning you for the purpose that has always been waiting for you to rise into it. As you step into the final stages of realizing your potential, it becomes clear that life is not measured by the obstacles you face, but by how you respond to them. Every challenge you have encountered was not meant to stop you, it was meant to train you. Every disappointment was not meant to define you, it was meant to prepare you. Every season of waiting was not wasted, it was shaping the strength, patience, and perseverance that would allow you to carry the weight of your destiny. The life you are meant to live has always been within your reach, but the journey toward it was necessary to reveal the fullness of who you were created to be. One of the greatest lessons along this journey is understanding the power of influence. Your potential is not only about what you do for yourself, it is about what you inspire in others. Every gift, every insight, and every breakthrough has a ripple effect. When you rise, others rise with you. When you walk in your calling, doors open for those who are meant to benefit from your journey. Influence is not about control or recognition. It is about being faithful to your assignment in a way that impacts lives beyond your own. True greatness is measured not by accumulation but by contribution. You must also understand that purpose is a lifelong pursuit. It is not something you complete, it is something you continuously refine and expand. As you grow, your potential grows. As you learn, your influence expands. As you mature, your ability to serve others deepens. Life will continue to challenge you, test you, and push you into unknown territory. But every trial becomes a testimony. Every struggle becomes a stepping stone. And every moment of perseverance adds depth to your character. The person you are becoming is always greater than the circumstances you endure. Faith is essential in this final stage. Faith allows you to see what is not yet visible, to trust in the unseen, and to act on promises that have not yet materialized. It is faith that transforms obstacles into opportunities, fear into courage, and limitations into breakthroughs. Without faith, potential remains dormant. But with faith, every gift inside you begins to find expression. Every dream begins to find form, and every calling begins to find fulfillment. Faith is not passive, it is active, persistent, and relentless. Another essential realization is that your journey is unique. No one else has your combination of experiences, talents, insights, and calling. Comparing yourself to others only dilutes your purpose. You cannot duplicate someone else's journey because you were created for a path only you can walk. Trust in your unique design, trust in your timing, and trust in the unfolding process. The doors that are meant for you will open, and the doors that are not meant for you will close. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to your path, prepared for every opportunity, and committed to your growth. As you embrace this truth, the power of discipline becomes increasingly evident. Potential without discipline is wasted energy. The habits you cultivate, the daily choices you make, and the focus you maintain determine whether your vision becomes reality. Discipline is not restrictive, it is liberating. It allows you to master yourself, control your direction, and achieve outcomes that would otherwise remain out of reach. Every small act of consistency compounds over time, producing results far beyond what you initially imagined. Discipline turns intention into action, action into results, and results into legacy. Legacy is the ultimate measure of unlocked potential. It is not about wealth, recognition, or titles. It is about the impact you leave on people, communities, and generations. Legacy is created when you use your gifts faithfully, influence lives positively, and live a life aligned with your calling. It is the proof that your journey mattered, that your struggles were not in vain, and that your life contributed to something greater than yourself. Every step taken with purpose leaves an imprint that extends beyond your time on earth. At this stage, The journey also reveals the importance of perseverance. The path of potential is never smooth. There will be setbacks, delays, and moments when it feels like your efforts yield little result. But perseverance ensures that temporary defeats do not become permanent failure. The one who persists, despite resistance, emerges stronger, wiser, and more capable than they were before. Perseverance transforms endurance into triumph and patience into reward. The world may not see your struggle, but your persistence will produce results that cannot be denied. The final lesson is that the ultimate power of potential lies in alignment with your identity, alignment with your purpose, and alignment with the source of your creation. When all three align, clarity replaces confusion, confidence replaces doubt, and action replaces hesitation. You begin to live intentionally rather than reactively, guided by a vision greater than circumstances or opinions. Alignment activates all the resources, relationships, and opportunities necessary to fulfill your calling. It is the point where everything within you works together to manifest what was always meant to be. And so, as this journey concludes, you stand not at the end, but at the threshold of continuous growth. You have learned that potential is a seed, vision is water, discipline is sunlight, and faith is the soil in which greatness flourishes. You have learned that challenges do not define you, setbacks refine you, and purpose directs you. You have discovered that your identity is your foundation, influence is your responsibility, and legacy is your reward. And you now understand that the journey of potential is never complete, for each step forward uncovers new possibilities, new horizons, and new dimensions of who you were created to be. The journey does not end in comfort, it begins in courage. It does not end in understanding, it begins in faith. It does not end in recognition, it begins in service. The life you were born to live was not meant to be ordinary. It was meant to be extraordinary. Every challenge, every lesson, every decision, and every step you have taken has prepared you for this truth. You are created with infinite potential, equipped with divine purpose, and destined to leave a mark that the world cannot forget. Rise, therefore, with intention. Act with courage. Serve with love. Persevere with faith. And live with the unwavering certainty that your life has meaning, your calling has significance, and your potential has no limits. The world is waiting for what only you can give, and the moment you step fully into your destiny, everything changes, not just for you, but for everyone touched by your journey. Your time is now, your purpose is real, your potential is unstoppable,